So you're thinking of moving to Charlotte, North Carolina? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you one of the hottest neighborhoods in the Charlotte market, and that is in Steele Creek. Just 20 years ago, Steele Creek was mostly farmland, but today you wouldn't recognize it at all. So stay tuned so you can see it for yourself. Now, if you've never been to my channel, my name is Yadi Karina Jones, and every Monday and Wednesday I drop new videos so that you can see the good, the bad, and the ugly that Charlotte has to offer. So subscribe to the channel so that you can get access to these videos first. Well, that's not all I do. I'm also a real estate agent with Keller Williams Select, and every day I help people just like you buy, invest, sell, and relocate to the Charlotte metro area. If you're thinking about making a move to Charlotte, I'd love to connect with you. Reach out to me using the contact information below. I'd love to hear from you. Now, let's find out if Steele Creek is the perfect area for you. Steele Creek is located in the southwestern part of Charlotte. It has a great mix of urban, suburban, commercial, and retail spaces. And as much as I love Steele Creek, it does have some pros and some cons, and I'm going to share those with you right now. Pro number one is hands down Lake Wylie. When residents of Charlotte want access to water, they turn to lakes like Lake Wylie and Lake Norman. And that's because the closest beach town is 3 hours away. So lakes are pretty important here. Now, Steele Creek just happens to be bordered by Lake Wylie, which makes it a special place to live in. You can access the lake on the North Carolina side or the South Carolina side, but if you want to get your boat in the water, you have to cross over to the South Carolina side because that's where the public access dock is. You can also rent a boat at the Lake Wylie Marina and take it out so you can go fishing or you can hang out with your family for half a day or the full day. But my favorite part of going to Lake Wylie is going to eat at Papa Doc's, which is a restaurant located right on the water. Pro number two is growth. Since the 2000s, Steele Creek has seen a consistent boom in construction. In fact, all you have to do is drive through the area to see an endless supply of townhomes, single-family homes, apartment buildings, commercial spaces, and even schools being built. In the 8 years that I've lived in Charlotte, I've been able to witness 2 schools, a Topgolf, and the Charlotte Premium Outlets being built in this area. So this area is constantly growing and evolving. Pro number 3, easy access to shopping. Steele Creek has a ton of places for you to get your retail therapy on, starting with the Charlotte Premium Outlets, which were built in 2014. They have over 100 brands to choose from, and you can snag some deals on things like purses, shoes, and clothing. You can also go shopping for groceries and supplies at places like Rivergate Shopping Center. There's also a Target Superstore there, as well as Whitehall Shopping Center. And you can hit up the Airsley Town Center that has different types of shops and restaurants, and also the Bearwick Town Center. Pro number 4, leisure activities. You do not have to leave Steele Creek to have a great time. You can head over to Topgolf. If you're a golf enthusiast, you're going to love it. And even if you're not, you're going to love it as well. Or you can skip over to Carowinds and get on the amusement rides. I love going there with my family. You can also go to Airsley Town Center where you'll find Piedmont Social House where you can grab food and drinks. And not only that, but you can also shoot a game of pool and you can go bowling. You can also go to right in the Airsley Town Center. There's the Airsley Grand Cinema, so you can catch a flick there. Or if you're more of an outdoorsy type, you can head over to McDowell Nature Preserve where you can go hiking, barbecuing, or just catch a glimpse of the water out on Lake Wylie. There's also a nature center in there and a playground in case you have children and you want to take them to do something fun on the weekend. Pro number 5 is housing. The housing market in Steele Creek has appreciated by 22.5% in the past year. Some of that is due to the fact that you are still finding new construction opportunities in the Steele Creek area. Another thing is that Steele Creek, again, it is very close to Lake Wylie, which means that you are able to get homes on the lake, and the average home in Steele Creek is $500,000 compared to like Lake Norman, which yes, it is twice the size of Lake Wylie, but the homes in Lake Norman are more like 1.5 million. So you're able to get on the lake for much better value in Lake Wylie than you are in Lake Norman. Con number 1, distance to Uptown Charlotte. One of the downsides of living in Steele Creek is that the closer you get to South Carolina, the further away you are from Uptown Charlotte and from Charlotte Douglas Airport. So you can actually be up to 30 minutes away from both of those. And if you happen to work in the financial industry or something that puts you in Uptown Charlotte, South Tryon can get very congested with traffic in the mornings, and your commute can go from 30 minutes to 45 to easily 60 minutes. So that's something to consider if you want to move into the Steele Creek area. Con number 2, being outside of city limits. Well, what does that mean? 40% of Steele Creek is actually outside of the city limits. That means that typically things that are handled by the city, such as garbage and recycling, will now fall outside of their spectrum, and you're going to have to hire your own company to do garbage and recycling pickup. That will typically mean that you're going to end up paying about $75 or so every 3 months. So that's an added expense that you may not want to incur if you live in the Steele Creek area. Con number 3 is the roads. Now, because of all of the development in Steele Creek, it has gotten to the point where there is a lot of congestion, which means that the roads are not wide enough to handle the influx of people that are moving into that area. So there are currently some expansion programs going on. One of them being approved by the North Carolina Department of Transportation to widen Highway 160, which runs from Steele Creek through South Carolina. Now, it is currently a 2-lane highway, but they're thinking of expanding it to 4 lanes and even in some parts of it 6 lanes, but this won't be finalized for a number of years. And there's also some mitigation changes in terms of intersections that feel congested as well, one of those being Steele Creek and Shopton Road, which is very close to the Charlotte Premium Outlets. Con number 4, playgrounds. This one is really only going to apply to you if you have young children who still enjoy going to the playground. But Steele Creek is not known for having publicly accessed playgrounds. Typically, when you see one, it is attached to either a school building or to a subdivision or community. And if you don't live there, you're not supposed to be on that playground. Now, there is one in the McDowell Nature Preserve, but it is tucked away, and so the likelihood that anybody will even be there when you show up is pretty small. So that is something to consider if you're moving to the Steele Creek area and you have young children that still like to go to the park and the playground. Thank you for joining me today. We talked about the pros and the cons of living in Steele Creek. Steele Creek is an amazing area if you love to eat, work, and play all in the same place. There is a wonderful mixture of urban and suburban, commercial and residential. So it is a fantastic place to consider making a move to. If you are convinced that Steele Creek is your place, or you just want to learn more about Charlotte or the home buying process, feel free to connect with me using my contact information below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos in the future. Thank you again. See you next time.